You all know that. Putin's operation is really amazing. On the surface, China seems to be making a lot of money. But secretly, Russia has carefully made 3 turns. I have to admire Mr. Hu. This chess is too exquisite. So what's going on? What does Putin mean by this? Why are we so happy to earn in China? What is Russia's secret triple hatchet? Let's get down to business. Since the opening of Russia and Ukraine, the Russian economy is like a roller coaster. If it weren't for the 4 major cooperation projects between China and Russia, Russia goes it alone. I'm afraid it will be difficult to compete with NATO countries. These 4 major collaborations, not just to make the Russian economy suffer less. The ancient emperor also moved 3 hearts. So what exactly is this collaboration about? It was Russia that opened the Far East to us. Why did you come here? The Far East of Russia. A win-win choice for cities in both China. It is also beneficial to other countries. At most everyone knows, Russia is a scary place. The land in the east is the backbone of their family. The Far East borders China, still drenched in the tide cold and Japanese home. The area is about 6.96 million square kilometers. Good guy. The entire territory of Russia is 17.1 million square kilometers. This piece accounts for almost 40%. The media exposed the forest resources there, some of the best on the planet. In all the forests of Russia, 60% are hiding in the Far East. Russia's Far East, not only is forest coverage amazing, freshwater resources are also super abundant. That's about 70% of the country. That is to say, on a global scale. The freshwater here can also be named. And don't forget, 90% of mineral resources are hidden here. You could say, the Far East is Russia's treasure map. Facing such a resource pool, the Russian government naturally attaches great importance to fully exploit the potential of this land. As the world situation changes little by little, Russia also realized it's Xi Jinping's own strength. We want to maximize the benefits of the Far East. A little thin, so Putin's eyes reversed, decided to pull other countries to pan for gold in the Far East. Looking at the economy as the 2nd largest in the world, we in China are not only neighbors with Russia. The relationship is still very strong. Various international disturbances. We are all impartial, so Putin decided to open the door for us. With such a large piece of resource cake in the Far East, for our country, it is a golden opportunity for development. Of course, we're going to catch it. But Putin's plan is not over yet. There are still 3 major routes hidden behind the opening up of the Far East. The first is to prevent Western disguise. Come to the east to find trouble in Russia. After all, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is not a day for 2 days. The smoke of gunpowder on the battlefield has actually long surpassed the scope of Russia. It's like the whole North now. More than 30 countries have come into contact with Russia. However, Russia has repeatedly. The first surprise attack in Ukraine, it has been explained. The war has already begun on Russian soil. So actively look for partners. Don't let the West take advantage of it. This is another consideration for Russia. This action of Putin, it may be encouraged by the West. Russia understands, once given an excuse to the United States, they are definitely likely to connect. Ukraine provokes trouble from the east. If the Americans open fire in the east, their aircraft carrier fleet can directly pass through the Bering Strait, forced to the doorstep of eastern Russia. Russia is half focused on the east. The development plan in the Far East will be in vain. So Putin's plan. I have to find a country that is next to Far East City. Back yourself up. Take a look at the surrounding Japanese automatic PS. Then there is a choice between North Korea and China. North Korea's temper is hard, but on that little turf, not a suitable opponent for a US aircraft carrier, so China became the final pawn. Online detailed analysis shows that now our country's military has followed the American boss. A little bit of strength and the courage to fight the United States head on, So Russia is opening up the Far East to us like this. Maybe he also took a fancy to this, with China at hand. American hands are not so convenient. In addition to that, Russia must be tempted. Want to borrow. This deepens the iron buddy relationship between China and Russia, especially when China and Russia hit it off. The West started to make small calculations, trying to pry our relationship. Old Biden is still trying to block our communication with Russia. In the end, he started to threaten directly. But the Russians are having a hard time. Ukraine is busy with disputes. The whole world is called upon by America, one after another, to boycott Russia's operations. What was once an energy powerhouse is now hitting a wall everywhere. Can't find a partner. And China has been awesome. Russia is naturally grateful. But there's been a lot of collaborative projects. To deepen cooperation, gotta come up with some real stuff. Otherwise, it won't show our sincerity. So, Russia plans to do something worse this time. Larger projects, and then the Russians looked away. Thinking of the land of the Far East, not only can you get your own light, it also brings tremendous opportunities to our country. Russia is willing to open the door to the Far East, open to China. Of course, it's not just about mining to make money. The Far East is rich in resources. Russia is on its own, really powerless. The Russians are so generous. China has opened up the Far East. This will not only tighten our relationship, it also benefits both parties. Tied together, let's look at the third level. Russia is actually busy. Discover new economic growth points. Intent. Let the Far East become the center of their own future development. There are many resources in the Far East. In Li Yu's words, it's like a golden mountain. Putin is determined to win the Far East. Open the door to China. Want to use Chinese human resources to mine. It's fairly self-explanatory. For China, Northeast revitalization is not a joke. So we have to take some practical actions in foreign trade. Russia offers opportunities for the development of the Far East. That's definitely good news for our Northeast. As for China, it is impossible to work as a coolie for free. The Russians gave us a beautiful response, directly gave the right to use the port. In this way, our foreign trade in Northeast China can save a lot of money. This is for Russia. Also push the boat, a plan to help them move their economic center eastward. So, China has indeed cajoled a lot of interests. Russians set their sights on shifting their economic center. Russia-China cooperation presents a win-win situation. Anyway, Russia leads to China. Open the door to the Far East. This is a great opportunity for China. We also have to pick up the wool well. But the most exciting is still Russia. What do you mean? Sino-Russian direct cooperation in the Far East. It's a game where we can both win. It's a win-win story.